According to Robert Thurston, coffee was one of the world's first commodities to be traded worldwide, dating back to upwards of 350 years. Coffee is not typically grown in the United States, and it takes very specific conditions to thrive, lending itself to the international trade. I myself have been working in the craft coffee industry as both a barista and a coffee roaster for 5 years, and I have a deep love of making drinks that people enjoy. So today we're going to talk about what coffee is, the roasting process, and also a couple of different brewing methods. So what is coffee anyways? Coffee is actually a fruit known as a coffee cherry, and from the time that seed is planted, it can take upwards of 4 years to actually produce fruit that's ready to be harvested. Once that fruit is ready to be harvested, it's going to be known as all red maturity, which you will see right here. And in those perfect conditions, according to Jonathan Morris, it's going to be within 12 to 25 degrees of the equator, and you're looking for 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit for perfect growing conditions. So in those conditions, it's typically known as the coffee bell, which you'll see right here, and again, it's going to be close to the equator. So after the coffee is harvested, it's still not ready to be sent off to be roasted yet. It has to go through a process of being depulped, cleaned, and dried. So now that coffee has been shipped, it's going to arrive at a roasting facility looking green and rock-like and hard and not ready for consumption yet. So it needs to go through what's known as roasting, which is essentially drying out the coffee beans and baking them. So roasting is typically done between 375 to 385 degrees Fahrenheit, anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the volume of the roast and the roast profile. So as stated earlier, this is what it's going to look like when it's arrived at the roasting facility, and then that is your end goal. So while the coffee is roasting, it's going to go through a couple of different color changes. It's going to go from green to yellow to a cinnamon stick color, and then finally a medium brown. And once it reaches that medium brown color, it's about to reach first crack. First crack is an audible popping sound that you can hear while the coffee is actually roasting, and it signals to the roaster that your coffee is almost ready to be dumped. After the coffee gets dumped, it needs to be cooled in a cooling bin to stop the beans from actually cooking. And according to Kate Rockwood, dark roasts actually have much less caffeine than light roasts due to the roasting process. So now that your coffee is ready to be packaged and shipped off, it's going to finally be ready for consumption and arrive at things like grocery stores, small cafes, or even your own doorstep. So a couple of different brewing methods. The most popular are going to be drip coffee and espresso. Drip coffee is going to be a fine to medium ground coffee that can be produced using something like a Mr. Coffee Pot or even a hand pouring method. So you can have something as simple as a cup of Folgers or something as complex as a specialty coffee with notes of guava, banana, and all sorts of different fruits and nuts. When it comes to espresso, that's going to be a 2-ounce drink, and it's going to be a very fine sand-like texture, and again, it's only going to produce 2 ounces of coffee itself. It can be drank as just that double espresso. However, most people would like to add things like milk and hot water to make something as a latte, such as this one that I actually made myself, or something like an Americano, which again is just espresso and hot water. So to conclude, coffee is quite a lengthy process from farm to cup. It needs to go through harvesting, roasting, and then finally brewing before it's ready to be consumed. Coffee is more than just a drink. It's a craft experience that brings people together. So next time you're sipping on your perfect cup of coffee, I highly encourage you to think about all the hard work that went into that cup. Thank you.